What do you want?
Sure.
Okay, so the beginning seated meditation. So I'll just turn sideways so you can see this gentle gesture of chin downish, crown upish, and a line through the middle. That central line, very important. Hold on, I'm gonna spotlight my video. So you guys should only be seeing me at this point. And also make sure it's on full screen. Sometimes people forget to do that. So where you would do that is up in the top right corner, where it says view. Click that and open it up, and you should see at the bottom something that says either full screen or enter full screen. You want to be in the fullest screen so that you see everything large. Okay. So again, seated meditation, a lot of times people make this mistake of collapsing right here at the base of the skull. So we want more and more the opposite of that. Chin down, base of skull and neck open. And it can look like, you know, I could be holding myself here, or I can really just create this alignment, this structural alignment, and then just relax. Then just let the body release so that you don't run away from the ground, right? That's an important thing when we're walking, is that a lot of times we're sort of away from the ground. We need to go to the ground, through the ground. So find that in your seated posture here, where you're not holding yourself up, you're letting your body weight just settle through the buttock bones, the sits bones, and you're finding a support there. And then what keeps you upright is more this rebound, this sort of, I've rooted and now I'm lengthening up through the crown, but not with effort. And that's correct meditation posture from all the traditions of meditation. So you're learning meditation, like how to bring the mind and breath and body and nervous system and chi and life force, all this into harmony, into synchronized state. But you're also learning that that is the exact important central element to Tai Chi practice, to walking, to shooting a jump shot. It's all the same. It's all this relaxed, central, upright line. So if that's broken, everything else is broken. If that's intact, and then we practice that being intact in different contexts, then more and more and more we are moving in the right direction. So just to enhance this, close the eyes, nasal breathing in the nose, hold the breath a little bit at the top, out the nose or the mouth, hold the breath out a little bit at the bottom. Breathing in when you're ready next, all the way in, holding at the top. Breathing out slowly, smoothly, completely, holding just a moment at the bottom. And then your next inhale, maybe it goes a little longer, goes a little fuller, more full. Hold, maybe you hold a little longer. You let the breath seep out like air out of a balloon. Then you gently push the breath out. Hold the breath out, maybe a little longer. And again, inhaling. So just do this another 8 to 10 cycles. It's called a 4-part breath. Inhale, full pause. Exhale, empty pause. keeping this soft internal awareness. Gently open the eyes. And just keep that breathing happening. So when we're doing our standing practice, same idea, just breathe or allow the body to breathe naturally. Now that we've sort of turned the engine on, now you can just let that breathing engine run. Do a little bit of body mobilization work. Take your hands together and begin rubbing. This is to feed in awareness to the brain. So we're waking up our brain now. Left hand on the outside of the right hand. Rub the back of the hand. So fingertips to wrist. Then wrist to elbow. That section. Then elbow to shoulder. That section, the upper arm bone. And then shoulder, upper shoulder, and back as much as you can. And then smooth all the way across to the fingertips. Then fingertips to wrist on the inner portion. Raise the hand up a little bit. Wrist to elbow on the inner portion. So notice you're on the soft side. Reach higher if you can. Elbow to armpit, rub. Then armpit to hip down the side of the body. And then smooth. Hands. Back of hand. Fingertips to wrist. Wrist to elbow. And something I've noticed in people I work with, especially with Parkinson's, what'll happen is like they'll only be moving this much. When I'm saying wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow. So get the whole space. And then elbow to shoulder, the whole space. So don't get stuck in a small little rigid movement. Sweep. Shoulder, upper shoulder, back. As much around as you can. Smooth all the way to the fingertips. Fingertips to wrist. Wrist to elbow. Reach up, elbow to armpit. Armpit to hip, the whole side of the body, not just a little small movement, the whole thing, and smooth. Palms on the back of your neck. Go up, 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 sweeping. Then hold one hand up against the base of the skull. Opposite hand, get the side of the opposite neck, or the opposite side of the neck, the base of the neck, and then right along the back of the neck. And then switch. This hand does the opposite side, neck, base of neck, and back of neck. Now, thumbs right into this ridge, the base of the skull, right along that ridge. Then claws, tiger claws, through the hair, through the scalp, the whole scalp. So the thumbs go along the side here, the fingers are going along the sides and top. And the forehead, sweep and go back along the side. Again, sweep and go back. Do that same sweep, bridge of nose up and over. So sweep, up and over. Sweep, up and over. Ears, cup, gently squish and come down, then scoop under and go up and cup it again, squish. So we then middle finger in front, index finger behind, up and down. Then scissor cut circles on the dish of the ear. Now, the muscles right here on the jaw, all the way down to the collarbone, right? So notice that I went down my jaw to my chin, and then down the throat to the collarbone. So, and say the word jaw. So you drop the jaw, and then all the way to the collarbone. One more. So we got to release that so it's not clenched up. Jaw and down. All right. Shoulder gait here, the lung point 1 and 2. So here's your shoulder, here's your chest, this little convergent point right there. Go in there with your fingers and just soft circles. And notice there's like a little space. There's a space in there. And that's where a lot of us are clenched and holding ourselves up here, which makes us top heavy. We need that space released so that we're loose and we're easy to move. The chest and shoulders are needing to be empty. So rub that space and then rub the shoulder again and switch. Shoulder gait on the other side and shoulder. All right. Now we have the central line down the middle with the thumbs, down the middle. Feel that central line of the body from collarbone down the middle of the chest all the way to the navel. Down, down, down. Now we have liver and spleen on either side here. Open palms, rub in and out. So it's the bottom ribs, upper stomach, liver on the right, spleen on the left. And then we go down to the groin area and inguinal region, pubic region. Then we go around the back to the tail, the coccyx and the sacrum. Move the hands up the back a little bit. So as much up your back as you can. And then usually what you need to do is turn the arms like so, make fists and use your knuckles to get the rest of the lumbar spine. All right, now palms facing the body. We then rub side hips and buttocks, thighs, inner thighs, underneath, inner knees, fronts of knees, sides of knees, underneath the backs of the knees, in and out. Folding now at the hip crease so as to reach down to the shins and calf muscles, ankles. And now we finish our self-massage with this flow. So do it with me. We come around to the inner ankle. We come up the inside all the way up past the groin to the belly button. The belly button is our middle. So notice I'm sitting upright. Go around the back of the belly to the Mingmen or the lumbar spine. This is the middle fulcrum of the body, the waist. Rub up and down. And then we go down the outside and back side of the legs around, and we come up the inside front side to the belly button. Around the belt, up and down, and do it again. Down the outer, around, up the inner to the navel. The belt meridian goes around to the back of the spine. Rub there, and then we sweep. Do that 3 more times. And lastly, as you get back up to here, take your left hand up the outer side, turn that palm up, go down the inner side. We do that again. Up the outer, down the inner. Sweep, 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 sweep. And switch. Up the outer, turn, down, up, down, up, down. And finish with the arms floating, turning, folding. This is a closing gesture that we'll do in between and throughout that just reminds us to return to stillness rather than just doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and exhausting ourselves. But instead we do and then we don't. and we become still again. We breathe, we find that zeroed out, relaxed state for a moment. And then we head into our next exercises. So scoot a little bit back in your chair. Let's do a little of the joint mobilization of the legs, hips, before we stand up and do some walking. So this leg here, lift, and then down. Then the other one, lift and down. So initially this hinge of the hip and hinge of hip is a simple movement of the thigh bone at the hip socket. Hinge, down, hinge, down. Now what makes it a chambering is that not only do we hinge the hip, but we also pull the heel and the leg in, sort of like a loading up of a spring, and then we set it down. So that's called chambering, right? Pull in, load up the power of your leg as if you were gonna push something away with it, but just set it back down. So do that a couple of times. Chamber, down. We're also shifting our weight a little bit. To lift this, you have to shift over to the one side, and then you have to shift over to the other side. Do so. So feel that little change that's already occurring, and keep your vertical axis like we've been talking about. Now, the next time you have one chambered, then push out. Then rechamber, set it down. This one, chamber, push, chamber, down. And notice that is different than if we were to just move at the knee joint, right? Which would be, again, another simple movement. Instead, we're loading and then we're unloading. So there's straightening at the knee, but it's a more functional usage of the leg than isolated movement. Chamber, push, chamber, return. The next time you chamber, push, hold it, point the foot, flex the foot, point the foot, flex the foot. Continue. Then we do what's called invert evert. The foot goes a little in, a little out, a little in, a little out, a little in, a little out, in, out. Now circles, circles, other circles, and set that foot down. Right leg, point, flex, point. Invert evert, just a little lateral movement of the foot. And inward circles. And outward circles. And finished. Scoot forward again to the front edge of your chair. You're not there yet. Now we go right into our steps. All right. So now, this foot, lift the toes and turn the leg and knee out. That's external rotation. Lift the toes, bring the leg back to neutral. Lift the toes, turn on the heel, the knee and toes turn in. So there's this little inward rotation there, internal rotation. Lift the toes, neutral. Lift the toes, external. Lift the toes, neutral. Lift, internal. Continue. So feel it from the hip socket. That's where that movement is originating. Now we're going to skip over neutral. Go external, internal. External. Internal, external, internal, and neutral. Other side. External, neutral, internal. So what you got to feel here is, again, this is many joints, many movable parts, but all eventually we want to feel it as one. So it's from the hip, but the knee and the foot and the toes, everything come along together for the ride. Let's skip over neutral now. In, out, in, external, and neutral. Now both external, neutral, internal, neutral, external, neutral. And let's now skip over neutral. In, X, internal, external, internal. And back to neutral. Sorry, let me just mute that. Okay. Next, we have this movement here. So we sort of put all that together. Remember, we did lift the leg and we've just rotated. When you put that together, it looks like this. Place your hands on the right knee, left leg, up, roll, down. And then we go in, up, roll it, in. So your hands over here help you stay over here. Your hips stay over here. And it's really just that leg moving, right? We're not moving the whole body with it, right? The body can be very glued together. And so we're trying to slice and dice and open all these spaces so that we have more precision in our control. Other leg, hands on the left knee, up, over and out. Up, over and in. So the more we can stay established and move this empty leg, all right, this is an empty leg. This is the full leg, generally speaking. Last one. And back to neutral. Now, forward folds. We hinge at the hips. And then come back up to neutral, sitting vertical. And then we lean back from the hips. So the hips make an obtuse angle. And then we come back to a 90-degree angle. Then we make an acute angle, go as far this way as you can. Feel how that opens up your back. And this is the primary hinging point of the body. Go ahead back to neutral. And then lean a little bit back. So the importance of the hinge here at the ball and socket joint of the hips is paramount, because if you lose that, you end up moving from the wrong places, and that creates injuries. That creates back injuries, that creates shoulder injuries, neck injuries, all kinds of stuff, because we're doing things out of order, out of sequence, when this should be the bulk of how we get ourselves to this position. And then maybe here you would slide your hands down and round the spine a little bit to get a little further. And then come all the way back up and lean back. So the spine can and really needs to be somewhat supple and movable. But if we don't move from the hips, we tend to round the back first to try to go stand up or go get something. And we just end up pushing our spine out the back. So hinging and then softly letting that spine be supple, and then rise. Now let's sort of put that together into our sit to stand, stand to sit. So if you have balance implements you need, make sure they're nearby. So to stand up, we slide the feet a little bit back. So notice now there's an acute angle at my knee rather than here. So a little bit back. Then I'm folding at the hips first. Then my first gesture of energy is forward, not up. So if I first remember to go forward, then pushing down sends me up. And I'm not holding myself up. I don't have to tighten up. I don't have to grab onto something. I'm using these powerful legs. To sit down, same thing, but opposite. So now we hinge at the hips. The butt goes behind the heels. I haven't even bent my knees hardly at all, Now I sit the butt, find the chair, and then I'm leaning back to neutral. So once again, arms are dangling and relaxed, folding, gesture of energy forward, and then push through the earth to just rocket ship to the sky. Then, oh, time to sit down. Now this is control. The booty goes back, we fold in half, we sink down, land the tush, and arrive at vertical. Let's do that a few times. Now, option to flow. So then it has a sort of curve to it, to where it's forward up, right? It's fold forward up. And it includes all the things we just practiced in their slower version, right? But it doesn't have that sort of herky-jerky feeling to it. Then we sit down similarly. It's fold, sink butt down. So now do a couple where you just flow. You can even do this where you're leaning back and you catch a little wave. But include all those components. And then, and what you'll find is this actually doesn't take quote unquote effort, what the Chinese call li, this strong strength, this brittle strength. It doesn't take any of that. And very few things actually require that. You can do it like you're made of water, because you are. You can just relax. And that's what Tai Chi is all about. It's just reclaiming that power system of liquid and fluid and ease. Now let's just do 4 where we don't actually land in the chair, we squat and lift. So now the booty goes back, we sink it, we rise, and then we go a little too far. Push the hips forward and softly let the shoulders hang back. And then back to the middle. And the booty goes back, and we sink. And then we push through the earth and rise. We find middle, and then we just go a little too far to create almost a little back bend, arch. But it's coming from the hips pushing forward, not my effort in my upper body, right? I'm not holding myself and pulling myself back. I'm just pushing the hips. Let's do that twice more. Sink. And rise. And especially with Parkinson's, but really it's every one of us as we're aging, what's happening is a shrinking, a truncating of the space at which our brain and body feel like they have room to swim, to fly, to move. So this truncation that's happening keeps us sort of framed in like this. So a simple gesture like that, and like that, and sinking, and then rising. We're like using a machete, and like carving back the bramble, right? Think of these movements like that, like you're just beating back this encroaching bramble on the body, all right? So now, we're standing, stay standing. Make sure once again that you have and especially if you're new to this practice, you're gonna have to figure out how to best keep an eye on me, but also how to have your balance implement needed for all the different sides that you need it for. So our first exercise is this swinging of the leg. So hand on the chair for balance, the weight in that leg, and then this leg free, swing it forward, back, forward, loose. Now what you want to notice is that this usually is easy for folks, the leg going forward. When we go to here, sometimes people stop and just bend the knee. Try to get the thigh bone to actually swing a little behind you and then swing. So think pendulum. Pendulum. And some of us have, like I have one leg a little longer than the other, so I have to keep a little bend in the knee so I'm not running into the floor. But that's fine. But just swing that leg. And then we switch sides. You do what's called a kobu, a little hook step. Turn this foot out and turn again. And now we're facing the other way. Other leg, swing, swing, loose. So an empty hip, meaning a free leg. This leg is then free to step or step up a curb or whatever it is, but loose. Swing that leg. And we switch sides again. So kobu or hook step. Turn and turn the other foot out. And finish by getting the other foot so they're all parallel. Now we're back to our first side. Now with that same quality of the swing, but this time we go back, bend, forward, out. Back, forward. Loose, easy, relaxed. So we're getting this feeling of, but we're also using the wheels of the hips and knee and ankle. Switch directions, we swing forward, up, and this part right here, very important. Reach back behind and then let it swing. Reach back, swing, reach back, swing, 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 and switch. Hook, turn, change. Now swing, 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 and then back, up, over, and forward. Switching the circle, forward, up, tuck, and reach back. Forward, up, tuck, and when we reach back, our body has to like recalibrate its balance a little bit. Back, back, back. And here we kobu and then face the chair. So hopefully you're facing me at this point. And we go empty this right leg, go out, in, out, in. So lateral movement. And bring the foot in, switch, out, in. Now, here, we do circles. The foot goes forward, circles around and comes in, and then forward. Circle. So you might need a little room away from the chair. Circle. Loose. Free leg. Right? First we empty it, and then we just move it in this loose way. Now switch the circle. Same leg. Eventually, sometime you'll try and do this with no hands or just a fingertip on your chair or whatever. And switch. Forward, circles. Loose. Switch directions. All right, and back to center. Now, I'll face you for this next one, but you guys keep your hands on your chair as needed. So now we're going empty this leg here, your right leg, and lift it and turn it out. Then lift it and neutral. So remember all the exercises we did when we were sitting, when we were rotating and turning the whole leg as one. Lift it, turn the leg, and set it down. So we got the pigeon toe. Lift, neutral. Lift, external. Neutral. Internal. Neutral. Now we skip over neutral. Eventually, no weight. So I'm not bang. I'm not landing harshly in this leg. I'm actually just sort of tapping the ground. right? And it's empty the whole time, and neutral switch. External, neutral. Internal, neutral. Notice there is more room. The body is built to have more turn-out ability than it has in, right? So this is fewer degrees that we can turn in, but it's a very important movement for us to do for the health of the body, but as well for a lot of these movements that we want to do. Now, skip over neutral. Internal, external. In, X. In, X. And neutral. All right. Now we do this brief little self-massage moment. Rub the groin, inguinal, come around the hips, sacrum. Now remember the squat we did a moment ago where we pushed the booty back. So now as the hands go down the side of the legs, the butt goes back, we sort of sit to a squat like you're going to sit in a chair. The hands sweep around and come to the inner ankle, and then we stand back up, and the hands come all the way up to the groin. We do that again. Rub groin, inguinal, around to the sacrum and tail. And then from the sacrum and tail, slide the hands down the outer legs as you sit the booty back for a squat, around the feet, up the inner, past the groin to the little crease there. One more. To the back. And then this is called Shogun, float, turn, fold. Remember I told you we would do that intermittently throughout the practice. This little moment of stillness. All right, and release the arms down. Now, the next exercise, you're going to need your hand on your chair, so I'll bring mine around. So you'll have one hand on your chair. Now, shift your weight to one leg, lift the heel and get to the tippy toes, then put the heel back down, shift your weight. Heel to the tippy toes, back down. Notice that I haven't changed my weight yet, and then I change. Heel to the tippy, down, keeping it empty, then change. Now I disconnect the toe from the floor if I can. Change. So what we're doing here is discerning the emptying of a leg from the moving of the leg. So it's this change here that allows this leg to be free. Then once it's free, I can lift and lower. Shift. The other important thing is the putting down of the leg. Sometimes we can lift it, but when it comes time to put it down, we often fall into the leg. We kind of into it. So land it and then change. So lift only as high as you can lower. Empty. Change. This is the most basic walking exercise you can do because it reveals, are you able to relax down through the leg, get the support from the springiness of that leg, lift and empty, lower and empty, and then change, lift, lower. Okay, let's take that exercise to the next level. So that's the beginning. Now, the next time you have, so let's say you got this is my right hand, but I'll say your left hand because I'll be your mirror. Left foot out. Now we change by shifting forward into that front foot and then shifting back into the back foot. Forward, back. And notice we're getting to the tip of the heel here in this empty foot. Shifting so that now this back foot's empty, we can be on the tip of the toe, very light. Back. Now this is level 1 of this exercise because we're not leaving the ground with the feet, but we're working on all those internal mechanics. Now empty left foot, lift, lower, shift. Empty back foot, lift, lower, shift. So it's that same thing we were just doing in the previous simpler exercise, but now we're adding a new element. An important thing about walking and moving is that we can easily see a forward shift and a backward shift. But the majority of what makes it an effective walking step is a down quality, meaning we don't just keep going forward, right? We would fall off that leg. It's going forward enough, but then opening up the leg and letting its springy hydraulic nature take your body weight so that this foot becomes inconsequential and therefore can lift. And then we're going back just enough to let the leg take your body weight. Then this foot is free to lift. Let's do it again. So it's just the appropriate amount, the required amount of back, and then mostly it's down. Now let's go to level 3, where not only lift the leg, but chamber the leg. And then lower. Shift. Not only lift the back foot, but chamber forward, like you're getting ready to step up onto a high rock or something. And then reaching back without putting weight in it. Then we're shifting. Tuck. All the while, balance a teacup on top of your head. Chin downish, crown upish, rather than chin up, right? Now that being our last one of level 3, there is a level 4 we won't do today. Then bring that foot back and let's do our little hook step. So we hook, turn, and face the other way. Now, to do these ones, we do need the chair to be not just right alongside us, but a little bit in front. So back yourself up so the chair is in front of you because we're moving in that direction. Now, hand on the chair as needed. Other foot should be out in front. Level 1, shift, get to the tippy toe, shift, tip of the heel. And at any point, some of you have been doing this for a while, you just decide, you got your chair there or your balance implement, great, but you could play with no hands, especially on level 1. So level 1 of every exercise would be where you would start to challenge yourself to just be a fingertip or even arms hanging softly by your side. Level 2, if you tried to do it and you weren't ready without a hand on something, you might feel like you're going to fall backwards. So hand on something, check it, see, okay, how do I feel? Shift, how do I feel? Right? Important thing with this as well is that we don't just go up, down, right? We're not going up, down. We're going, are you empty? Boom. So it's a check. It's like a little diagnostic moment. You go, did I truly empty this leg? Can I lift and lower with ease? And then as I shift, did I really commit to that standing leg so I could lift, lower with ease? Let's go to level 3. So it's up, tucked, down. This is where probably you'll need that chair, but someday, perhaps not. Now we chamber that leg forward so that we can practice this piece right here. That reaching back of the foot is key so that we're not falling back with it. We're staying stable and reaching. And then we're shifting back. So this one is sort of simple, right? The forward direction sort of simple. But once we go, okay, now I got to reach behind me into the black of the unknown back there. And then go back there. That's that tricky part, but it's very important. Last one. And together, switch sides. Step, hook step, turn, and get yourself ready. Now, get yourself a little bit further back from the chair or push the chair a little more forward so that you have room to do this single step. So you can watch first, empty, then remember the pendulum swing of the foot that we did. Pendulum swing, get to the heel, shift, pause here. Then we go back, shift back, remember the pendulum swing, wait for it to be empty, swing it back, toe, and shift back. Then we go forward. So this is level 1. So maybe you try it, no hands. Shift back, wait for that front foot to be empty, pendulum swing, and back. Shift, wait, swing, shift. Shift back, wait, swing, shift back. Level 2, lift, lower, shift, small obstacle on the floor. So you have to pick up the foot and bring it up and over something, set it down in front. So we're not just swinging it through. We have to step over that cord or that rock or whatever's in the way. Then we shift, and then we lift, lower, shift back. There's that thing hooked behind the ankle. You got to get your foot over. So you have to bring the foot forward, tuck it, reach it back and stabilize, and shift back, lift, lower, shift. The foot comes up, forward over the top of that obstacle, softly down, and shift. Shift back, up, tuck, reach back, no weight, and then shift. Again, the further away the chair is, the more room you'll have to keep it in your wheelhouse. Let's do another level 2. Now, level 3, chamber. So again, hand on chair as needed. Down, shift. Now here we just sort of exaggerate. So think of that like we're blazing trails in our brain-body connection. Heel and knee. And we go backwards. Back, shift. We're coming up, tuck, reach back, and chamber. One more, level 3. Switching sides, step, around, hook step, turn, face the other way. Get that other foot in front. Chair far enough away that you got it's there, but you can walk into it. Level 1, shift, wait for it, pendulum swing. Shift, pause, shift back, pendulum swing. Shift back, forward, swing, forward, back, swing, back. And don't be in a rush to move the moving leg. Early on, wait. And truly, if early on you practice and practice and get to the point where you're like, oh, I know what it feels like for this to be ready to swing, then that can speed up. But if you don't ever take that time to get that differential, then it always will be clumsy. Because eventually it can be instantaneous change of full to empty. Level 2, lift, lower, shift, small obstacle, shift, lift, lower. Soften your way into the back leg, releasing. Empty leg moves like a feather. Soften your way into your back leg. Empty leg moves like a feather. Shift. Level 3. Again, chair as needed. So we're chambering, reaching back. Sorry, lost you guys there. So reaching back, then we chamber, reach back, shift, chamber. One more. And down. Shogun, float, up over the top, settle, settle, settle. Now get to where you have a bit of a runway, and it might be across the room, might be forward and away from the camera. But what I want us to do is just get level 1 walking. So what it looks like here is I back away, and this is where if you had a cane or a walking stick, that would be ideal, or a walker even, just to keep you very safe as we move. But the goal is, okay, shift, wait for the back foot to be empty, pendulum swing. Shift, wait for the back foot to be empty, pendulum, 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 pendulum. Work on that differential. And then we go backward, the foot floats back. We shift back and release down, pendulum. Back and release down, pendulum. Pendulum swing. Go again. So the slow walking at first can eventually become very casual, very easy. If it doesn't feel easy to go fast, please don't. Go at the pace that you can feel ease. Like you're just kind of oozing to this leg and easing to that leg and just kind of almost like falling. That's what's interesting about Tai Chi and this understanding of how to move the body like liquid, is that in fact, you're no longer scared of falling. You're using this feeling of fall or release down to be your mode by which you connect to the root in the ground. So rather than stiffen up, hold on for dear life, and then climp, 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 we're released. We're emptying. Easy peasy. Right? Cruising. And we're still carrying that lovely teacup top of the head. All right, now when you're back to your chair, face your chair. Move to the right side of the chair so that you've got quite a bit of runway to the left of you. Now, empty this left leg out, shift onto it, right leg in, shift onto the right leg, out, shift, in, right? I'm going to turn so I can see you guys. Out, shift, bring that empty foot in, shift, out. The key to doing this one correctly, and it's most difficult on the stepping out, because a lot of times people go like so, the body stays glued to the leg that steps, versus stay here, step that leg empty, shift onto that leg, step the other leg in, then shift, step that foot out, keeping it empty, in, out, shift, in, switch directions, out, shift. So we're going to do one more set of these. So when you get all the way back to your end, just go back again and back again. And if you have a shorter space than I do, then go multiple times there and back. This is also the basis for one of the movements in Tai Chi. and plays with clouds. So don't get distracted by what the hands are doing or the torso is doing. Notice that the legs are just doing the same thing. This is Tai Chi. A very complex practice, right? Because as soon as you start adding the arms, the brain and the legs and everything just starts to get discombobulated. So that's why we learn these steps first, and then we learn the upper body in our other class. We learn all those movements sort of separate from the steps, with the eventual goal of the blending of the two, so that then you have a Tai Chi practice, which is rotation of the torso and gracefulness through the arms to the fingertips, right? That's the practice of Tai Chi in various and more complex movement patterns that just blaze more trails for the brain and body. All right. Now, let's finish with rotation steps. So this can be dangerous, right? Because now for so far, what we've done is we've stayed in one plane of movement, more or less, right? We've just done sideways movement. Prior to that, we just did forward movement. But here, we're actually turning, we're rotating the body. So empty the right leg, we turn it out. Now just watch me do a full round so that you see it, and then you're gonna do it, because you're gonna have to turn away from the camera at some point. So now I shift into this turned out foot, rotate my body to match, and my left foot now comes to stand next to the right foot. Then I empty the right foot again, turn that right foot out, it's empty, and then I'm shifting onto it and turning, and then I'm bringing that left foot to match. Empty the right foot, turn it, shift onto it, rotate. You get the idea. So go ahead on your own. We're going to go around. The right foot, empty. Then in a smooth Tai Chi way, shift, turn, and reorient yourself to the right. Quarter turn. Then we do that again. Shift and quarter turn. So if the phone is ringing across the room, rather than, as many people are falling doing this, just turning and trying to go from this tight upper body, we have this loose upper body and we go, oh, the phone's over there. Oh, whoop, turn, and then we could walk in that direction, right? So that's really what we're working on, is that initial moment of, oh, there's something over there. How do I orient to go get it, or whatever it may be. Now, after you've done two, so go for a second round, all the way around, then we're going to go to the left. So you get the idea, you understand what that means. So now go to the left. Quarter turn. Quarter turn. Notice where there might be tension in the body, right? Tightness in the arms, gripping in the chest and shoulders. Experiment with releasing that, with not needing do up, because literally it's keeping you from rooting or connecting to the ground. It's keeping your legs from actually doing the job they're built to do, which is hold us up, be liquid springs that can change back and forth like pistons, right? So it's this tension in the body that limits our ability to cultivate hydraulics and liquid and fluid power. But as soon as we start loosening that and relaxing and letting ourselves connect to our legs, we've already begun that journey, that Tai Chi journey. All right, so now facing your chair, let's do our closing sequence here. So the first gesture is weight in the right leg, foot comes behind, toe touches, and press the heel down, release the heel, step back to parallel. Behind, press, release, together. Press, release, together. together. One more of each. Okay, now, next exercise. Leg empty, toes turned out, lift, circle in, lower and hang it to dangle, rotate it open again. We'll do that again. Circle. Turn the leg out, rise, roll it in, dangle. Switch. Turn that leg out, circle, out, circle, out. And eventually you just let that flow. And switch again. We're facing forward. Now instead of out, turn on the ball, the foot, the knee points in, circle, swivel, circle, swivel, circle, swivel, circle. So the leg, notice it's coming across, so that it can roll. Cross, so it can roll. Switch, swivel, cross, out, swivel, up, over, and last little exercise here. Place your foot out in front a little, softly tapping the ball of the foot, and then the heel goes out, in, out, in. So it's a soft external, internal rotation. It's loose. Switch legs. And with this same feeling of looseness, we take that exercise one step further, switch back. So we're loosely shaking that leg. Then when the heel is in, we lift and go over to the outside. So it's best way to think of it is like a lasso or a rope that you're turning, or like something that's spiraling. So just loose, easy spiral, the ankle turning, hip turning, or leg bone turning in the hip socket. Other direction. Loose and switch. Shake. And then spirals. Spiral. And spiral the other way. Good. Standing. Remember this exercise we just did? Groin, hips, sacrum and tail, and then like it's a squat, sweep down, around, back up. Once again. And then remembering this exercise, up, down. And the other side. Up the outer, turn the on, down the inner, turn the on, up the outer, turn the on, down the inner, turn the on, up, turn, down, turn, up, turn, down. and Shogun. Seal, placing the palm of one hand right on the belly button. Boop. Other hand over that hand. Relaxed shoulders, relaxed elbows. And just feel, according to Chinese medicine and the Taoist view of the body, sort of ancient Chinese view of the body, belly, gut, this is our center. This is our center of gravity. We make our center through tension. Oftentimes we make it up here. Tight chest, tight shoulders, holding ourselves up. But it's when we relax and we actually settle to our natural center, we start to feel this power that can be developed. And there's so much movement that can be practiced, Tai Chi, from this being our center. And that all can't be executed when we're stuck in our tight bodies. So loosening and finding our middle and then learning how to move from there. So thank you so much, everybody. Well done. I always like to chat a bit after. If there are any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, please. And let me know.